I have decided I absolutely am in love with Hungarian food. Yeah, no, that's right on the street. Oh. Come on then, dig in. Hey world, it's me, a nobody. And as some of you might already know, I recently visited Budapest, and I have to say, oh my god, the food is absolutely underrated. I love food, and I think one of the best ways to get to know a country is through the stomach. So you should try at least one authentic dish. Made it my aim to try at least one of every dish in Hungary, and I'm here to list off all the best dishes I tried in Budapest. Now, if you're not into onions or paprika, then it's probably not the cuisine for you. But I've got a little something for everyone to try. So with that, let's start with my first dish. Number 1, goulash. Dating from the medieval period and eaten by Hungarian shepherds, goulash is a simple but hearty dish. It is a meat-based soup or stew, and with the beef, it's typically accompanied by onions, garlic, potatoes, bell peppers, carrot, surrounded by a paprika-enriched tomato broth. I personally think that this dish is best served as a starter because it's nice and light and gets you prepared for the rest of the meal. Another starter that I recommend is garlic soup. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, an entire soup of garlic? Sounds a little bit smelly, but actually it's so incredibly delicious. Something that I learned on our walking tour was Hungarians are actually descendants from Asians, and being an Asian myself, I absolutely love garlic. So the moment I heard about a soup completely dedicated to garlic, I was instantly intrigued. It's not as spicy and not as garlicky as you think. There's definitely a garlicky kick in there, but it's really creamy, so it's not too overpowering. And it's even better when it is served with langosh, which happens to be our next dish. You cannot go anywhere in Hungary without seeing langosh somewhere on the street. Langosh is a deep fried flatbread, traditionally served with sour cream and cheese sprinkled over it. I am slightly biased. The moment you say deep fried, I am all over it. Very simple, I've really enjoyed it. And it's completely and utterly versatile. It's really good as a lunch dish, so really easy to pick up and take on the go. I went a little bit extra and didn't get the traditional version. I got it with sour cream cheese, but also with salami, onions, peppers, rocket, prosciutto, and then extra cheese. I still enjoyed it anyway. Now with our overloaded langosh, there was no way I was going to eat this by myself. I did share it with my husband, and that kept us satisfied. But if you're not into savory, they do sweet versions as well. I've seen it with Nutella and bananas. I've seen it with cream and strawberries. And so again, you can have this in any way that you want to. It's up to you. Stew. You can't go to Hungary without having stew. It's like the ultimate staple of the country. I've already talked about one, which was the goulash. But another, lamb stew. The stew, also known as porkot. I apologise to all the Hungarians out there who are probably slating my pronunciation, but porkot is a meat-based stew, very thick stew in a sauce, but it also comes with Hungarian egg noodles. Now, I love noodles. I'm Asian. Noodles I eat like every single day, but these are slightly different ones. They're very thick and they look like cheese curds is the best way that I could describe them. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure how I felt about the texture. The texture is quite chewy. It's just a texture that I don't think I'm really used to. This is probably the only thing on the list that I wasn't instantly like, wow, that's definitely something that I really love. Can also just order the stew with potatoes, but traditionally you'll find it with the egg noodles. Another stew which I was absolutely in love with and ate basically every single day was a vegetarian stew called leksa. Again, probably pronounced wrong, has the traditional Hungarian ingredients in. So it's your paprika, your tomatoes, your onions, your peppers. I think the reason why I enjoyed Hungarian food so much is because of it's very fibrous. I do get stomach problems every now and then, but I had no problems in Hungary whatsoever, and it's probably down to the ingredients that they're using. I had it every single day with my eggs because it's also served as a breakfast food. It's really good with dipping bread into it. It's a really rich sauce. It was vegetarian. On this menu, it definitely has a V, which means vegetarian. However, when I got the dish, it did say on the description that it will come with a sausage. I assumed it was going to be vegetarian. It was not the case. It was normal sausage.
Apparently this is vegetarian.
Luckily, I'm not strictly vegetarian. I eat plant-based at home, but when I travel, I eat meat. Just be very aware with that. Check with your waiter. Make sure that you are ordering something that is vegetarian. Just be very clear. Please do not give me meat sausages. It was still good to me, but if you are a vegetarian, it's going to come as a bit of a surprise. Speaking of sausages, that is the next thing on our list. I feel like I don't need to say much here. I absolutely love sausages. The paprika sausage, as I mentioned, is something you definitely have to eat. Another sausage that I really recommend is a sausage called Herka, which is blood sausage. If you're from the UK like me, the best comparison that I can make is that this is black pudding. It's really good for your breakfast. This is the sausage I had alongside my Alexo and my eggs. But again, I can understand why it wouldn't be for everyone. Speaking of eggs that you have to try are Hungarian scrambled eggs or Hungarian omelette. It's basically eggs with paprika, with onions, with peppers, with tomatoes. I think you're seeing the theme here. All scrambled with cheese, and it was so delicious. I really enjoyed my breakfast every morning. I really just enjoyed eating in Hungary. If you couldn't tell, I absolutely loved it. The next thing that we're going to move on to, meat pancake. I'm gonna double check how to pronounce this because I know that I'm going to just absolutely ruin the pronunciation, so give me a sec. I'm not gonna say that because it would just come out terribly. But the meat pancakes, also known as is the next dish that I really recommend that you try. Anyway, meat pancakes. There was one that actually really surprised me. It is a savory style crepe. It has your pork, your meat stew wrapped in this crepe, and then it has a tomato base paprika sauce that's smothered over the top with sour cream, and it was really delicious. It's the first thing that we tried when we got to Hungary, and I was not disappointed. Another roll that I really recommend is cabbage rolls. Cabbage rolls are similar to the meat pancakes. The only difference is that instead of having a crepe, it is a cabbage that wraps up the meat stew. This is probably the thing that I enjoyed the most. I really like cabbage. I really like the meat stew. So together the combination was really delicious.
Yeah, no, that's right on the street.
With the cabbage rolls, you might also get sauerkraut alongside it. Something that I recommend are Hungarian potatoes, which is a really nice side dish which you can have with your meat stew instead of the noodles. It's your typical ingredients, your paprika, your tomatoes, your peppers and onions, and these are all just sauteed to make the dish, and these were really, really good. The thing that my husband and I became absolutely obsessed with, and that was chimney cake. If you've ever been to Prague, you'll probably be familiar with chimney cake. It's a thin pastry that's wrapped around a wooden pole, put in the oven and has sugar around it. In Prague, they tend to fill their chimney cakes, but in Hungary, they put a thin layer of cream inside it, and I was absolutely addicted. My husband and I got this basically every single day. We loved it so much. Really crispy pastry, but also fluffy at the same time. And if you add in the cream, it just puts it on a whole nother level. You can actually find these all over the city. The locals particularly like to go to little stalls that you'll find next to the metro stations. These are really cheap and cheerful. A place that I highly recommend is called Galateria Pitcher. The only reason we managed to find this chimney cake place is because I could smell it from down the road. It just smelled so good and sweet and delicious, and that is exactly how it tasted. So that one I highly recommend. You can get all different types of flavors. You can get Nutella in it, you can get vanilla cream in it. I got cinnamon roll, but I've seen it with sprinkles on it, I've seen it with chocolate bits on it. It just depends what you fancy. The only thing is, just don't drop it. That's all the food that I recommend. Only dish I didn't try was fisherman soup. I wasn't able to find this on restaurants that we had visited. It's very similar to other dishes. Instead of meat base, it's just fish, and it's got your paprika, your tomatoes, your onions, and so on. You're probably wondering, well, where to eat these places. So 2 restaurants that I really recommend, which I visited, was Mensa and Ghetto Gulyas. These two places sell authentic Hungarian cuisine. Both of these are highly rated on TripAdvisor, so this isn't just my suggestion. They both have great atmosphere, they both have a good menu selection. However, if I were to choose out the two, I'd probably choose to go to Ghetto Gulyas. I just found that it was a better atmosphere for what I was looking for. It was a really nice, relaxed atmosphere in there. All the menus were in English also in both restaurants, so it was to choose. There wasn't a struggle with translation there. Mensa, however, I really recommend if you're looking for a bit more of a upbeat atmosphere, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It wasn't relaxed mood, but they did have amazing drinks. Really recommend their drinks list. I had this really delicious cocktail. The waiters were really friendly, so they were the ones who recommended. They said, you know, what kind of drink do you like? What is your normal go-to? We'll pick something that you'll enjoy. So that was really nice about that restaurant, so I still really recommend it. Now, if you're looking for something quick and easy, the Grand Central Market. If you go to the top, there are a number of restaurants around the building. The langosh place that I talked about, I probably wouldn't recommend. The problem that we had with it is that the more toppings you got, the more expensive it became, but it didn't tell you that. So, well, it did, but it was in small writing, and it was after we had ordered what we had ordered. The langosh that we ordered was about £19, when in reality it should only be £5 or £6. But another little restaurant that I really recommend is, as you go up the stairs, on the right hand side, there's this little restaurant that's in the corner. This was really great, really reasonably priced. This is where we got our sausages and our cabbage roll, and you also get a great view of the entire Central Market, so it's really nice to just people watch and sit in there and eat your food. There's so many restaurants in there, we didn't get to try all of them, so just see what you fancy. Finally, one last place that I actually really recommend is a place called Mazel Tov. This is actually a ribbon bar. Now, if you don't know what ruin bars are, these are old decrepit buildings in the Jewish quarter. These buildings turned them into nightclubs, into bars, into restaurants, but this one was a restaurant one. I was so surprised, I didn't realise that all the ruin bars were actually quite so different. Specialised with Jewish food. We didn't try loads of food because we were quite so full from all the other food that I have listed. We got hummus and we got pita bread. Drinks again were really delicious. I had this yellow drink. Oh my goodness, it was like one of the best cocktails I've ever had. I need the recipe for that drink. It was so good. I do wish that I could have gone back and actually really tried the food. I just recommend going and visiting ruin bars anyway, because it's a completely different side of Hungary. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope you do try some of the dishes. The food really surprised me. I enjoyed it so much. I absolutely love Hungary. I absolutely loved Budapest, and 100% want to go and visit again. It is just such a brilliant city. If you did enjoy the video, please do remember to give this video a thumbs up. Please do make sure you subscribe, you join the Herstory pages. If you are interested in traveling, I went and visited Wales, going to visit the Lake District. So there's all of that to look forward to, and I'm sure there's even more travels to come. So thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely day.